Good morning, everyone. Today, we are going to learn a new topic that is transportation from the chapter Life Processes. Transportation is a life process in which a substance absorbed in one part of the body of an organism is carried to other part of its body. The body of every organisms, that is plants or animals, is made up of cells. A small organism has millions and millions of cells in its body. In order that organism may be able to maintain its life and survive, all its cells must be supplied with essential substances like food, oxygen, water, etc. So, some arrangement is required inside an organism which can carry the essential substances to all its parts so that they reach each and every cell of its body. So, we can clearly say this now. Human beings, like multicellular organisms, need a regular supply of the food, oxygen, etc. This function is performed by circulatory system or transport system. In human beings, there are two circulatory systems through which the material are transported to relevant organ and tissues. They are blood circulatory system and lymphatic system. For the convenience of our learning, we can divide the circulatory system in three headings: heart, blood vessels, and circulatory medium. Now, let's learn the structure of heart. The heart is roughly triangular in shape. It is made of special muscles called cardiac muscle. The size of our heart is about the same as our clenched fist. The heart has four compartments called chambers inside it. The upper two chambers of heart are called atria, and the lower two chambers of heart are called ventricles. With the help of the given diagram, you can observe that the heart has double pumps. Heart is divided by septa into two halves, the right and the left. Each half consists of two communicating chambers, upper smaller auricle or atrium and lower large ventricle. Thus, the heart has four chambers. The two upper chamber called atria or the atrium and two lower chambers called left and right ventricles. There are valves between left atrium and left ventricle and between right atrium and right ventricle. These valves provide one-way passage and prevent the return of blood. We will now learn the circulation of blood in the human body with the help of highly simplified diagram. When the muscles of all the four chambers of the heart are relaxed, the pulmonary vein brings the oxygenated blood from the lungs into the left atrium of the heart. Can you locate it, children? Pulmonary vein brings the oxygenated blood from the lungs into the left atrium of the heart. Now, when the left atrium contracts, the oxygenated blood is pushed into the left ventricle through the valves. When the left ventricle contracts, the oxygenated blood is forced into the main artery called aorta. Can you locate it, the children? The main artery then branches into smaller arteries which go into different body organs except the lungs. The smaller arteries further branch into capillaries. The main artery carries blood to all the organs of the body like head, chest, arm, stomach, intestines, liver, kidney, trunk and leg except the lungs, right? When the oxygenated blood passes through the capillaries of the body organs, then it gives oxygen to the body cells. Since the blood loses oxygen here, we say that the blood has been deoxygenated. The blood also gives the digested food and other dissolved material to the body cells. At the same time, carbon dioxide produced as a waste material during respiration enters into the blood. The deoxygenated blood from the body organs enters the main vein called vena cava. Can you locate it, children? The main vein carries the deoxygenated blood to the right atrium of the heart. When the right atrium contracts, the deoxygenated blood is pushed into the right ventricle through the valve. And when the right ventricle contracts, the deoxygenated blood is pumped into the lungs through the pulmonary artery. In the lungs, deoxygenated blood releases its carbon dioxide and absorbs fresh oxygen from air. So, the blood becomes oxygenated again. This oxygenated blood is again sent to the left atrium of the heart by the pulmonary vein. The only vein that is carrying the oxygenated blood for the circulation in the body. The whole process is repeated continuously. In this way, the blood keeps on circulating in our body without stopping, due to which all the part of the body keep on getting oxygen, digested food and other material all the time. The blood circulation also keeps on removing the waste products formed in the cells of the body. So let's revise. Now the oxygenated blood is carrying into the left atrium. From the left atrium, it will enter into the left ventricle. Via aorta, it will transport it to all body parts except lungs. Now here this blood will be deoxygenated. It will carry carbon dioxide and other impurities and bring it back via vena cava into the right atrium. From the right atrium, it will enter into the right ventricle. Then it will be sent to the lungs for the exchange of gases. Carbon dioxide will be given out and oxygen will be absorbed here. The blood circulatory system in human being is an example of double circulation. This can be explained as a circulatory system in which the blood travels twice through the heart in one complete cycle of the body is called double circulation. In the human circulatory system, the pathway of blood from the heart to the lungs and back to the heart is called pulmonary circulation. And the pathway of blood from the heart to the rest of the body and back to the heart is called systemic circulation. These two types of circulation taken together make double circulation. One complete contraction and relaxation of the heart is called a heartbeat. The heart usually beats about 70 to 72 times in a minute when we are resting. Every time the heart beats, blood is forced into the arteries. This blood makes the arteries expand a little. The expansion of an artery each time the blood is forced into it is called pulse. Each heartbeat generates one pulse in the arteries. So, the pulse rate of a person is equal to the number of heartbeats per minute. Now, blood pressure. The pressure at which blood is pumped around the body by the heart is called blood pressure. The blood pressure of a person is always expressed in the form of two values called systolic pressure and diastolic pressure. In order to understand this, we should first know the meaning of systole and diastole. The phrase of the heartbeat when the heart contracts and pumps the blood into the arteries called systole, and the phase of the heartbeat when the heart relaxes or expands and allow the chambers to fill with blood is called diastole. Thus, the maximum pressure at which the blood leaves the heart through the main artery, that is aorta, during the contraction phase is called systolic pressure. This high pressure in the main artery maintains a steady flow of blood in all the arteries towards the capillaries. The minimum pressure in the arteries during the relaxation phase of the heart is called diastolic pressure. The value of diastolic pressure is always lower than that of the systolic pressure. The blood pressure of a person is expressed in terms of millimeters of the mercury. The normal blood pressure values are systolic 120 mmHg, while diastolic pressure is 80 mm of Hg, that is the mercury. Blood pressure is measured by using an instrument called sphygmomanometer. Blood is a red colored liquid which circulates in our body. Blood is red because it contains red pigment called hemoglobin in its red cells. Blood is a connective tissue. Blood consists of four things: plasma, RBCs, WBCs, and platelets. Now, let's learn about the plasma first. The liquid part of the blood is called plasma. Plasma is a colorless liquid which consists mainly of water with many substances dissolved in it. Plasma contains about 60% water. Plasma also contains dissolved substances such as protein, digested food, common salt, waste products like carbon dioxide and urea, and hormones. Plasma carries all these dissolved substances from one part to another part in the body. RBCs, WBCs, and the platelets are immersed in this liquid called plasma. Children, now let's learn about RBCs. RBCs are red in color due to the presence of red pigment called, hemoglobin inside them. RBCs are carrier of oxygen. Red blood cells carry oxygen from the lungs to all the cells of the body. It is actually the hemoglobin present in the RBCs which carries oxygen in the body. Hemoglobin performs a very important function of carrying oxygen from lungs to the body tissues. Hemoglobin also carries some of the carbon dioxide from body tissues to the lungs. RBC cells do not have nuclei. RBC cells are circular in shape. RBCs have to be made very quickly because they do not live for very long time. Now, let's talk about WBCs. WBCs fight infections and protect us from the different diseases. This is because WBCs helps to fight against germs and other foreign bodies which causes diseases. Some WBCs can eat up the germs which cause diseases. Now, platelets. Platelets are tiny fragments of special cells formed in the bone marrow. Platelets do not have nuclei. Platelets helps in the coagulation of blood, that is clotting of blood in a cut or wound. The important functions of blood in our body are as follows. Blood carries oxygen from the lungs to different parts of the body. Second, blood carries carbon dioxide from the body cells to the lungs for breathing out. Third, blood carries digested food from the small intestine to all the parts of the body. Fourth, blood carries hormones from the endocrine glands to different parts of the body. Fifth, blood carries a waste product called urea from the liver to the kidney for excretion in the urine. Sixth, blood protects the body from diseases. This is because WBC kills the bacteria and other germs which cause diseases. Seventh, blood regulates body temperature. This is because the blood capillaries in our body helps to keep our body temperature constant at 37 degrees Celsius. The blood vessels are elastic muscular tubes which carry blood. There are three kinds of blood vessels in the human body: arteries, veins, and capillaries. Arteries first. Arteries are thick-walled blood vessels which carry blood away from the heart for the distribution to the body. The wall of arteries are particularly those near the heart are thick. Veins are thin-walled blood vessels which bring blood back to the heart. They are larger and hold more blood than the arteries. The blood flows in the veins having low pressure. It flows slow and steady. The veins have valves that allow the blood to flow only towards the heart and prevent the backflow. Capillaries. Capillaries are thin-walled and extremely narrow blood vessels which occur at the terminal of arteries and veins. They join the arteries and veins together. They form a vast network of vessels. The walls of capillaries are permeable to water and dissolved substances so that the exchange of material between the blood and body cells take place. The blood also flows very slow, which facilitates the exchange of food material, gases and waste products.